When you think of tomatoes, Italy may come to mind. However, with about 30% of global production, California is actually the largest supplier of processed tomato products in the world.
In California's Central Valley, we're really blessed with having rich soils as well as this Mediterranean climate that provides a long growing season during the summer that's really conducive for processing tomato production as well as the mechanical harvest. We have tomatoes that are always in the top 10 of nearly 400 crops grown in California. This is a dynamic industry. Over $1 billion in gross sales, California represents about a third of the world's production.
Tomatoes are widely known for their numerous health benefits, including their outstanding antioxidant content.
There have been lots of health benefits demonstrated with eating tomatoes, most notably reducing risk for cardiovascular disease and reducing your risk for cancer, especially prostate cancer. Studies have looked at what in the tomato conveys these risk reductions, and most notably have identified lycopene, which is an antioxidant or carotenoid found in tomatoes. Studies have also looked at comparing whether eating raw tomatoes versus tomato sauce or tomato juice or supplementation, and it seems to be actually the tomato sauce that conveys the highest level of benefits, or specifically ingesting the processed tomato products.
Processors with familiar names like Campbell, Del Monte, Heinz, Hunt's, Ragu, Red Gold, and many others source their tomatoes in California. The tomato production process begins at the nursery, in this case, California transplants. Seedlings are grown in trays and take about 50 days from seeding to delivery to the field. At 14 days old, trays are thinned to ensure maximum quality. The greenhouse space required to satisfy the demand for tomato plants in California would cover 175 football fields. Plants are loaded into delivery bins and transported to the field by semi-truck.
I've seen many changes in the California industry. Some of them have been equipment related, cultural practices, pest management, consolidation with growers and the seed companies as well as processors. Some of the things that I've witnessed have been the adoption of integrated pest management by growers, a very significant change for our industry. We've also seen movement from using open pollinated varieties to using hybrids. There's also been a big shift in that whole process of using transplant tomato seedlings as opposed to open field direct seeding.
Transplanting begins in mid-February and continues until June. It takes 2 billion plants to cover the acres, and they go in one plant at a time. From planting to harvest requires about 120 days. When the tomato field hits 100% maturity, the tomatoes are machine harvested and delivered to nearby processing plants, where they are cooked and canned the same day they are picked. The tomato harvesters pick as much as 100 tons per hour. Each load of tomatoes weighs about 25 tons. If you lined up the tomato loads picked in one California season, they would extend from the West Coast to the East Coast and back to the West Coast. AgSeeds is California's premier distributor of field seeds, vegetable seeds, and nursery seedlings. A major component of AgSeeds' success is its commitment to the California processing tomato business.
AgSeeds is a retail seed and transplant sales organization that operates in the Sacramento and San Joaquin valleys in California. AgSeeds also manages a large custom transplanting operation that operates in the north, the central, and the southern parts of the state. Each year we transplant tens of thousands of acres. AgSeeds got its start 40 years ago selling processing tomato seed to growers in the Sacramento Valley.
Nearly 100% of processing tomatoes are grown from transplants. AgSeeds manages custom transplanting operations in the north, central, and southern parts of the state.
AgSeeds operates a full-scale transplanting operation. The transplanting operation covers the whole state of California in the processing tomato industry. Our grower customers plant their tomatoes on different bed configurations, and they require that AgSeeds does that work. We provide the equipment, the labor, and the machinery for that transplanting operation.
Over 270,000 acres are transplanted in California each year by commercial transplanting operations.
The total plant requirement in California is approximately 2 billion transplants for the processing tomato industry annually. AgSeeds provides about 40% of that marketplace with our services and transplants. AgSeeds and our total service package, seed and the variety selection, transplants, and our custom transplanting operation is quickly being recognized as the premier provider of this service in California. We are currently the second largest custom transplanting operation in the processing tomato industry of California.
American farmer traveled to Hanford, California to get a behind-the-scenes look at Del Monte Foods, where a wide variety of tomato products are harvested fresh and processed into finished products the same day.
During the tomato season, this facility runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's the job of the field department to contract with growers, tonnage, and specific varieties so that during the season, on a daily basis, we're able to deliver the right number of loads and the right varieties for whatever products they're running that day. All of our tomatoes are vine ripened. We try to average 6 hours from the time the tomatoes are harvested until the time they're processed. This year we'll have 30 varieties. And the reason we have so many varieties is that we have matched the fruit characteristics to the product requirements at the plant.
All tomato processing plants are not built the same. They have different purposes. A very large percentage of the tomato plants in California are devoted to producing bulk paste. Hanford, however, is devoted to producing retail products in different packages. It's a very unique plant in that there are so many different technologies involved. Here at Hanford, we have 17 processing lines to produce the wide variety of tomato products. We produce ketchup, pizza sauce, pasta sauces, tomato sauce, peeled tomatoes of all types, diced and stewed. So a full range of tomato products.
H.J. Heinz Company has had its own breeding program for nearly 75 years. It is recognized as the global leader in processing tomato genetics.
As a tomato breeder for Heinz, it's my responsibility to develop new tomato varieties that show improvements in field and factory performance. It's important that a new tomato variety performs well in the field by giving a grower high field yield, but also it has to perform well in the factory by giving a factory manager a variety with high peelability, high color, as well as very good viscosity and sugar level. AgSeeds provides us information on industry trends as well as data from their extensive trialing network. Heinz works closely with AgSeeds to try to identify the best varieties to advance to help the California market.
AgSeeds' product development team is hard-working, innovative, and dedicated to planting, mapping, and monitoring trials with the ultimate goal of collecting accurate and meaningful data.
The research we do provides information for our seed suppliers, processors, and growers to use to make good decisions about how best to use genetics in their respective operations. The volume of data that we generate is also unique in the trade.
Our goal in product development is to collect, analyze, and distribute accurate and unbiased information on new processing tomato varieties in California. In 2014, we planted 218 processing tomato trials. We plant 4 types of trials, the first being plot trials, which are single entry trials with up to 150 varieties. We use these to evaluate horticultural and fruit characteristics. This is also the primary source of samples for our lab.
During the harvest season, we process about 4,500 samples, collecting more than 25,000 data points. Well, once the samples are brought in from the field, they're logged into our system. We take those samples and record a fruit weight on each one of them, and then the samples are cooked to simulate what happens in a processing plant. Once the samples are cooked, we use a piece of equipment to extract the juice from those samples that also simulates what happens in the processing plant. Well, at this point, it's the juice we use to collect most of our data. We use a refractometer to measure soluble solids or sugar levels. Some of the other tests that we do are pH or acidic levels, color, and firmness. We also test thickness by measuring flow rate. Two of the most important things we measure are sugar levels and thickness, because the relationship between those two has a large impact on the amount of finished product recovered from a particular variety. Dice yield or dice recovery is the amount of finished dice product you get from raw tomato inputs. We measure that recovery by taking a known volume of raw tomatoes, running those through a processor's commercial equipment, and weighing the amount of dice that is produced.
The second type of trial are GT trials. These are triple replicated yield trials. We use these to measure yield at very early stages in new variety development. The third type of trial are adaptive trials. These are 10 to 20 acre trials that are harvested in a manner so that we can get pure loads of these new varieties. This is the last evaluation of these varieties before they become semi-commercial.
AgSeeds conducts thorough product research and shares its technical expertise with growers, seed suppliers, processors, and others who rely on data-driven decision-making.
AgSeeds sells thousands of bags of corn and alfalfa seed and millions of pounds of cereal grains, but we've never lost our focus on processing tomatoes. This dedication to one species is one of the things that makes AgSeeds unique in the community of seed retailers in California. The research that we do provides information for our growers, seed suppliers, and processors that allow them to make good decisions about the use of genetics in their respective programs. The volume of data that we generate is also unique amongst seed retailers in the trade.
Well, of course, as a seed supplier, our goal is to provide value to the industry. The work AgSeeds does is very important because they do an evaluation for the entire industry. They're a third party and they provide valuable and extensive information to ourselves, to other seed suppliers, growers, and processors. That ensures that we're making the right moves, right recommendations to the customers and ultimately the consumers, but also where a variety or a type of genetics does not work, that's valuable to us as well.
AgSeeds provides us with useful, objective information regarding varieties and yield of those varieties that we hopefully can incorporate into our variety program going forward so that we can improve our quality as well as increase our recovery here at our plant.
J.G. Boswell is a diversified family-owned farming operation headquartered in Corcoran, California. They operate one of the largest tomato growing operations in the state.
This is my 30th tomato season this year, and over the course of time, there has been some significant changes in the tomato industry, and one of the major changes has been the transition from direct seed to transplant. The major benefit in the transition from direct seed to transplant has been the ability to have a uniform crop, being able to control the maturity of the crop to create a more efficient harvest. The relationship that AgSeeds and the J.G. Boswell Company has formed has been very important to the company. AgSeeds has offered us a very good steady supply of seed for our production. They've provided us with a high quality transplant that fits into our cultural program. Also, there's a great deal of variety trialing that takes place with them, and it allows us to take a look at new cutting-edge varieties that are coming on the horizon for us to incorporate into our production programs in the future.
Genetics are foundational to crop performance, not only for growers, but for processors and for the entire industry as well. Over the last 20 years, within our breeding program, but also within the state of California, yields have increased over 30%. That's been a huge savings. This year we're growing approximately 285,000 acres. If yields had an increase, we would need almost an additional 100,000 acres to supply the crop that the processors need this year. That's a huge savings in cost and efficiency, in water use, in chemical use, and pesticide use. That's a real success story for the genetics and also for agronomically the business.
AgSeeds' success is driven by its ability to identify performance improvements in new genetics that will contribute to the profitability and sustainability of California's agricultural sector.
Sustainability is about the conservation of resources. The work that we do identifying genetics that have higher field yield or better recovery in the processing plants ultimately results in utilization of fewer resources in the production of the end product. In 2014, California planted 285,000 acres of tomatoes, and the projected harvest is 14 million tons. That will be a new record for the crop in California. This is significant because our previous crop record was 13.2 million tons, harvested from 308,000 acres. So in 2014, we're projecting harvesting 800,000 tons more than our previous record from 23,000 fewer acres. So this is a tremendous success story regarding sustainability of processing tomato production in California.
AgSeeds offers a wide range of products and services that extend well beyond seed. For more information, visit www.agseeds.com.